Shalom. I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. And this is Shabai from the GMS Denver. And I'm just going to go in on the word elect through the Spirit. Okay, I want to bring it out in the Greek. It comes from the word eklektos, as you can see there. And I don't know if this is going to play, but let's see.
Εκλεκτός. Εκλεκτός. Εκλεκτός.
All right, so the eklektos, that's where you get the word elect. All right, in the English. But its Greek is eklektos, okay? And just want to point out, because the scriptures, the pagan Christian church, they teach that everybody can be saved, even IUIC, that false camp. They teach that, well, they don't even teach about the elect, matter of fact. All right? So, through the Spirit, we know that the elect is the portion of Israel that's going to be saved. All right? And actually, you know what? Why don't I jump to Zechariah real quick? Because not even all of Israel is going to be saved or receive salvation, okay? 2/3 of our people are wicked and they have to get destroyed, before salvation, before Yahweh Bashem Yahushai visits the earth and delivers his elect, okay? But Zechariah, just, let's go Zechariah 13:8. Talks about the 2/3 that are going to be destroyed, and it's talking about the 2/3 of Israel. All right, so it's Zechariah 13:8. It says, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is my power." Okay? So that's just to showing you that 2/3 of our people is going to be cut off and die. All right? The third part is a representation of the elect or the remnant. Okay? I have a few precepts here. Let's get to Isaiah 42:1. It says, "Behold my servant whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles." All right? And the elect, is the ones who's going to have the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai on us. All right? I'll grab, let's see, is it Ecclesiasticus? I think it's Ecclesiasticus 17:10. It says, "And the elect shall praise his holy name." All right, this is why you don't have everybody of all of the Israelites. They're not all calling on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You got a lot of the Israelites that they're calling on false names. There's a ton of false names that the Israelites are calling on, including they call the Most High God, which that's just the title, and then they call the Son, they call the Father God, they call the Son Jesus Christ, right? A lot of them. But those aren't the true names. And people, whether you're an Israelite or whether you're a heathen and you're calling on that name, Jesus Christ, well, guess what? This is just proof that you're not of the elect, because Ecclesiasticus 17:10, it says, "And the elect shall praise his holy name." And that word holy means separate. So his name is separate. Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Yahweh being the Father, Yahweh Shai being the Son. All right? And only the elect are going to be praising the holy name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? But let's get Let's see. All right, let's see. I'm just going to grab a few precepts on the elect. The salvation is limited to the elect. It's not all of Israel. It damn sure ain't all the whole world. All right, it's not all the heathen are not going to receive salvation. Only the elect are going to receive salvation. Okay, we're going to go into Matthew 24 and 31. It says, "And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." And remember that word elect in the Greek, it's eklektos. It literally means chosen. All right, not Yahweh Bashem Yeshai has a chosen people, which are the Israelites. But we showed you in Zechariah 13:8 that not all of the Israelites are going to receive salvation. All right. When you go into the blue letter, I have it on my laptop here. I'm going to read it to you. But the word elect or eklektos in Greek, it means picked out, chosen by God, which is chosen by Yahweh. Right. It's what it should say. But it says to obtain salvation through Hamashiach. All right. So only the elect are going to receive salvation. That's why we read right here. It says, "And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." All right, so the elect we know are scattered. Well, the Israelites are scattered, okay, but the chosen, Israelites, the eklektos, who are going to be gathered. And this is dealing with salvation in verse 31. The ones who are going to go up in a chariot and being saved from, the catastrophic, days that we're approaching. Especially when it's dealing with nuclear war. The only ones who are going to be saved are the elect. All right, the chosen. All right. Another definition here is the third definition here on the blue letter Bible says choice, select, and then the example is the best of its kind or class, excellence, preeminent, applied to certain individual Christians. All right, and we know the original Christians were Israelites. Okay. Because when you use that word Christian, these pagan Christians of today, those are not the true Christians. The true Christians are the elect. Another word for the elect would be remnant, okay, or the 1/3. We always talk about the 2/3. Well, you got the 1/3 who represents the elect. The 1/3 also represents the chosen. All right. So let's see here. You know what? Let's go to 14. Is it? Oh wait. Let's see. 24, that's a good verse to read. It says, "For there shall arise," Matthew 24:24, "for there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." Again, the elect is special. They're Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's chosen, and they're not going to be deceived. Like, you could be an Israelite and be deceived. That means you're not of the elect. Like, for instance, when everybody starts getting micro C hips in them, implanted in them, the mark of the beast, you're going to have Israelites that are going to take that micro C hip. And the reason is because they're not of the elect. They're not of that 1/3. All right, they're part of the 2/3 that's going to be destroyed. And there's many ways the 2/3 are going to be destroyed, and ultimately they're going to be destroyed by nuclear fire along with the heathen. And the word heathen, it means nations. Which it actually means nations outside of the tribes of Israel. Okay. We'll go to Colossians. Let's go to that real quick. Colossians 3 and verse 12, it says, Put on therefore as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man hath a quarrel against any, even as Hamashiach forgave you, so also do ye. All right? So again, we put on therefore as the elect, and it says holy and beloved. Remember, the word holy means separate, set apart. All right, so the elect are going to be the only ones who are set apart. That's why you have only the elect calling on the true names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, because why? We're set apart. Okay? It's not going to be everybody that's of the elect. All right, that's the whole point that I'm stressing in this lesson, in this video. Okay? Let's see. Okay, give me just 1 second. Well, let me see. I'm going to read. Let's go to... It says right here, 1 Thessalonians 1 and 4. And remember, when Paul was teaching all the various churches, like the Corinthians, the Thessalonians, the Galatians, so on and so forth. Remember, he was dealing and teaching the brethren, which were Israelites, all right? Brethren, it means kinsmen, right? So it's people of your own heritage. That's who he was teaching. So that's why it says in verse 1 Thessalonians 1 and 4, knowing, brethren, beloved, your election of the Most High, right? Because why? The Israelites who he was teaching, those were the elect. All right, the ones that were following Yahushua, the ones who were following Paul, those were the elect. Just like right now, you're only going to have the elect who are going to be part of the camps teaching on the street corners. You're going to have the elect teaching on the videos on YouTube. The heathen and the 2/3, they're the ones that are calling on the wrong names, the ones that are teaching unsound doctrine. They're not of the elect, right? Those are the ones who are going to be deceived, those Israelites. You're going to have like so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans they might be teaching on YouTube or whatever, but they'll be teaching, they'll be teaching in the name of, Cracker Jesus or some other false name. Yeshua, that's another false name. Jehovah, that's another false name. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have a lot of Israelites teaching under those false names, and that's why. Because they're not of the election. They're not of the elect. All right? They're those 2/3 that we read about in Zechariah 13:8 that are going to be destroyed, in the fire. All right? And the fire really is a metaphor for tribulation. Okay? So, there's going to be literal nuclear fire that's going to kill a lot of the 2/3, but it's also going to be other different things that, some of the 2/3 won't even make it to the fire. They're going to get killed in other ways, basically as a sacrifice, in the altar is going to be Babylon America, okay? So just let me grab Romans 11. It says, Romans 11:1, it says, I say then, hath the Most High cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. All right, and this is Paul talking. It says, verse 2, the Most High had not cast away his people, which he foreknew. Wot ye know what the Scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession of the Most High against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. All right, and because you had our people, who were not of the elect, and they were killing the prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right, throughout history, our own people have came against us. The prime example being Yahushai. You see, was it not the Jews, which are the tribe of Judah? They were the ones who were chanting and cheering on the crucifixion of our Lord Yahushai. Okay, so verse 4. But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. All right, and the 7,000 men is dealing, 7 means complete. So it's a complete number, 7,000. It doesn't mean literally 7,000. It means that's a complete number of men who didn't bow the knee to Baal. Baal is another word for Satan, right, or the devil, or the adversary. And that's the same thing you have right now. You have in this day and age, in this generation, you have an elect, 7,000 chosen men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal, right? Because the elect are not going to bow the knees to any false idols, any false names, They're not going to be deceived. Remember, we read, if it was possible, you could even deceive the very elect. But the thing is, it's not possible to deceive the elect. It's not possible to deceive the chosen of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, and remember, I told you another word for the elect is remnant. So we read verse 5. Even so, then, at this present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. All right, and this is dealing literally with the elect, the 1/3 of Israel, who is reserved for salvation, who is the holy, the ones who are going to call on the holy name. All right, so when you hear on the street corners men, teaching, and they're calling and praising the names of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, think, hey, that's a sign right there. That's a good sign. Those are probably men of the elect. See? It says, and if by grace, then it is no more of works, otherwise grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then it is no more grace, otherwise work is no more work. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. You see that? So the elect, aka the election, are the ones who obtain what? Obtain the knowledge, obtain the truth, obtain sound doctrine, starting out with the names. All right? Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. The elect are going to be calling on the true names, okay? If you hear anybody calling on any name, and I'm telling you, if they're calling on any name outside of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, then guess what? They're not of the elect. All right, we read in Ecclesiasticus, aka Sirach, that the elect shall praise his holy name. Okay? All right, and the elect are the ones who are going to receive salvation. All of Israel is not going to be saved, during the wrath of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Verse 8, according as it is written, the Most High hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not, and he's talking about the 2/3 of Israel, because remember it says, what in verse 7, what then Israel hath not obtained, that which he seeketh for. And Israel talking about the entire nation of Israel. He says, look, the entire nation has not obtained the truth. It says, but the election hath obtained it. And part of the truth, again, are the names, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai. So only a portion of Israel, which is the elect, obtained the truth 100%. All right, it starts out always with the names. Okay, verse 8, according as it is written, the Most High hath given them a spirit of slumber, talking about the 2/3 of Israel, the ones that are going to die in the fire that we read about in Zechariah 13:8. All right, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. Okay, so literally the 2/3, they're gonna be in a spirit of slumber. They don't get the truth. You can have the brother, you can have a 2/3 watch this video right here, and they're gonna be sitting there questioning the name still. They're gonna be sitting here questioning the doctrine still, right? Even though brothers, and including myself, we're breaking these scriptures down correctly and soundly, but if they're not of the elect, they're not gonna obtain it. It's not gonna stick with them. It's not gonna make sense to them because they're in that spirit of slumber. You see. Eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. And David said, let their table be made a snare. And the table represents this truth, right? Because you eat, daily bread. The truth is likened unto, living water that you can drink, and daily bread that you can eat. That's why it says a table. So their table and the snare is a trap, right? And then that's what it says. And David said, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. You see? So the 2/3 of Israel, this truth, this true knowledge, even the names, that's going to be a snare to them, a trap, a stumbling block. Because our people are raised in captivity where they've been taught false names, left and right, and they've been, those names and those false idols have been pushed on them ever since they were knee high to a grasshopper. So when in this day and age, now that Israel is waking up to the truth, and they're getting the true prophets of the Lord are on the scene, they still don't. They're not able to receive the truth because they've been taught lies and they hang on to those lies. So it's a stumbling block and a trap, right? The daily bread, their table, meaning this knowledge, this truth, it's a trap to them. They don't even, they're under that strong delusion that you can read about in 2 Thessalonians 2:11, or the lies are seared in their brain like a hot iron. Okay, as the scriptures says that they're believing lies, and it's seared in their brain, in their mind, or in their forehead like a hot iron. Okay, it says, verse 10, let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their back always. All right. So, that's the main point of this lesson is just letting you know and showing you that the elect is who. That's who we do the videos for. We do the videos for the elect, because the heathen and the 2/3, they're not going to get it. They're not going to receive the truth. It tells you in Daniel 12:10, I think. Yeah, and remember, the wicked is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. But the problem is you got the 2/3 of our own people. They'd rather stay holding on to the lies that they've been taught in their captivities. They're going to hang on to those lies that they've been taught by the wicked. So that makes them wicked. Even if there are people, they're still wicked. The 2/3 are wicked. All right. Verse Daniel in 12:10, it says, many shall be purified, which the many is the elect, and made white, meaning pure, and tried. Remember, we're tried in the fire, like we read. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So, when we break down these scriptures and we're teaching, and you're showing the verses, you're bringing out precepts, showing teaching the audience. If people can't get it, if they don't understand it, or they reject it, or they want to have a debate when it's clear to the elect, well, guess what? It's easy. We have a spirit of discernment, and we can say, hey, look, this person, I'm not teaching them no more because this person's not of the elect, obviously, because the elect is meek. The elect gets this. It's a simple thing for the elect to understand this truth. But right here, like it tells you, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Who's the wise? The wise is the elect, the ones that have obtained it. Remember, we read that in Romans 11:7. Who hath obtained the truth? Only for the elect. Matter of fact, like I'm going to say it again, this truth is only for the elect right now. All right? It's not even for, the entire nation of Israel right now. Only the elect, the 1/3, the remnant. Okay? Let me see here, remnant. Let me see if I can get a couple verses on the remnant, because that remnant is also aka known as the elect. Let's see. Okay, here's a good one. Isaiah 10 and 21. And I'm going to read 21 and 22. It says, the remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty power Yahweh. All right, so the remnant is going to return, meaning repent. And it says even the remnant of Jacob. All right, so it doesn't say all of Jacob, it says the remnant of Jacob. All right, unto the mighty power Yahweh. Verse 22, for through thy people Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. It doesn't say all of the Israelites that are numbered as the sand of the sea are going to return. No, but it says the remnant, which again, a remnant is represents the elect. All right, the 1/3 of Israel that's going to receive salvation. The 1/3 of Israel that's going to receive the true knowledge from the true prophets who are teaching sound doctrine. All right? And let me read it again. Yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. Okay? And let me see if there's a couple more I can get. Let me see. Here we go. Grab this one. Jeremiah 23 and 3 says, and I will remember Matthew 24 said that he would gather the elect, right? And I told you the elect is the equivalent of the remnant. So let's read it. Jeremiah 23 and 3, it says, and I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them together, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. All right? And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. See that? So the remnant that's going to be gathered out of all the countries is that elect that's going to be gathered, with salvation. And it says, I will set up shepherds over them. The shepherds represents the teachers, the prophets, the ones who are. And what are we feeding you with? Again, remember this truth is like food, right? Like your daily bread. It's like water, that constant flowing river, like a constant flowing river, right? So let me read 4 again. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And that applies to the elect. And let me grab this, Jeremiah 3:15, it says, "And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding." You see? Just like we read in Jeremiah 23:3, that what are we feeding the elect? Because remember, only the elect are going to devour the truth, right? If for lack of a better term, are going to eat the whole roll, eat the scroll, believe the knowledge, believe the real truth. Believe starts out with the names, you see? Only the elect are going to be able to consume that truth and actually, benefit from it. So I think that's the point's been made. So I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kudash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akim who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And shalom to the elect.